Hi everyone, so this is your second creative arts project. I hope you are all well. As you know, there are, for each subject you get a 5 to 8 hour long project, but as we are 3 subjects in one department, music, art and drama, you have 3 smaller projects, but all 3 of them should be completed. The drama one should take you no longer than 2 hours. So your task is going to be creating a little play or piece of theatre for me. We're not going to be creating it as in writing it out as a script, but forming our initial ideas for it. So for your next drama project, I'd like you to be creative. Below you'll see a stimuli, and if you remember, that just means a starting point for a piece of drama. I'd like you to write me a short description of what the play would be about and include examples of your characters. You then need to use the template to create a storyboard of this. You might find it easier to draw it on paper and upload it as a photo with your assignment. Finally, I'd like you to explain your storyboard either on this document or on your storyboard itself. You can make it any genre you want. I've just put some ideas there of what you might like to pick. Romance, horror, tragedy, comedy, sci-fi or crime. If you need any more information on what those genres are or how you might use them, just message me on Teams or drop me an email. Okay? Our starting point and what I'd like you to base your piece of drama on would be time travel. Okay? So, there are 3 main tasks for this. The first one is your summary that I mentioned a moment ago. So if you go a few slides down, you'll see I've put a few sentence starters on there for you. There's 2 mini tasks within there, and all you need to do is finish those sentences with as much detail as you can. So, first one, for my play, based on the stimuli time travel, I have decided that the plot of my play will be about. So here's your chance to describe what your play would be about if you based it on time travel. What year would you set it in? What would happen to the characters? What kind of events might go off during your play to make it exciting? And then who will the characters be in your play? So you might want to put their names and what they do in the play, or who they are. So you might have Jennifer as the mum of Harry and Ryan as the dad of Stephen, for example. Okay? To get the most marks then, and there's 6 marks available for that first task, you need to make sure that you give an explanation of the plot of your play. So it's not just a few words or a short sentence or a phrase. It's giving that extra bit of detail so that when I read it, I can really visualise what your play will be about. And then when you explain the characters in your play, so not just a bullet pointed list of the names of random people, but a little bit of a note next to them of who they are or what they do in the play, why they are important. If at this point you want to pause the video, put me on pause and do that first task, that's fine. Or if you want to carry on listening and go back to it later, that's absolutely fine too. So for task 2 then, we're going to create a storyboard. And if you've not done one before, it looks a little bit like this. This is the template that you can use. You can either print it off, do it on the PowerPoint, or you can create one of your own. So in each of the boxes, and you'll see there, I'm expecting 6 scenes. Okay, so for each one of your 6 scenes, I'd like you to draw me a picture of something that best represents what happens in that scene. So if it was a crime and that crime was somebody stealing somebody else's bag, you might draw an image of a person stealing somebody else's handbag. Okay? The way to get the best marks, and you get 4 marks per drawing. So there's 24 marks available for this task. You need to make sure that the images you draw have detail to them. So it's not just a few lines and a few stick people. There's a little bit more to it. They also need to be clear. So when I'm looking at them, I can understand what's happening. At this point, can I be really clear that you should not be getting images from the internet and copy and pasting them onto your work. You won't get any marks for this. If you do create images using an internet platform on which you can draw digitally, then please let your teacher know about this when you hand it in. They won't always be aware of internet platforms that can be used. It's happened to me, and I don't want to mistake anybody's work for something copy and pasted. Okay? If you'd like to pause at this point and get your images drawn, that's absolutely fine, or carry on listening. So, for your final task, 2A, this is where we're going to explain our storyboard images. So if we go back to the template, underneath each of the 6 scenes, you'll see the bigger box where now you should have your image drawn, and then a slightly smaller box underneath. What I'd like you to do in that smaller box underneath is describe what would happen in your scene with an example. Now you can see for each explanation there's 4 marks available. So let's see some extended sentencing, lots of description and examples within there for all those marks. In total, there's 54 marks available, okay? And before I leave you now to get on with your work, there's just a few things I'd like you to consider. So, will your characters go backwards or forwards in time? Why do they want to time travel? How will they time travel? Are they a scientist themselves? Do they know someone who is? Do they break into a laboratory to use the equipment? What do they want to know or do or see when they're time travelling? And will they bring anything back? Okay, guys, have fun, stay safe, and if you need any help at all, please ask me.